I know, but we have to take action. Okay, I call to order, good evening. I call to order this regular city council meeting on May 12th, 2026 at 7:04 PM. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have to get a moment of silence. Next, we will take a roll call.
Councilmember Olivares,
Here.
Councilmember Sotelo,
Here.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Here.
Councilmember Zavala,
Here.
Councilmember De La Fuente,
Here.
and Mayor Gonzalez.
Here. We will be moving on to item 3. Vote on the meeting agenda. Can I get a motion to amend tonight's meeting agenda to include new business item E, the approval of amendment number 1 to agreement number 38264 between Yakima County and the city of Mapton in conjunction with the American Rescue Plan Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds Award, also referred to as ARPA funds. And item F, the approval of grant agreement number 27-96647-055 between the Washington State Department of Commerce and the city of Mapton for the remodel and modernization of the Mapton Police Department facility.
Can I ask a question before we can amend it? Do we have to amend it? Yes? Drew?
Drew? Drew?
Yes, so I could hear part of the question, which was, do we have to amend? But I didn't hear the second half of the question.
No, I says, can I have a question, ask a question about it before we amend it?
Yes, you can ask a question.
So it was about for the one she wanted to ask for, add for F. This is the amendment agreement 238264. We have to approve this amendment in order to extend the $500,000 money we have for the coronavirus. Okay.
That was the way discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment of adding F and G.
Enough.
Enough.
Oh,
Yeah.
E, F, and G.
Yeah, it's G because it's yeah, so yeah.
Here G, but over
E,
here
F,
E and
yeah.
F.
Did we pass the agenda?
That's what we're doing first.
Okay, so to add the amendment number 1, the agreement with 38264 to item
Yes.
E
Mm-hmm.
and
You can just say item.
F, the other agreement number 27-96647-0055 items.
I have a motion by Councilmember Sotelo, second by Councilmember Alvarado. Any discussion? All in favor?
I
Those opposed? Motion carried. Can I please get a motion to amend the consent agenda item B from, which is the approved claim voucher and electronic transfers in the amount of 56,784.58 and change that to 56,988 with 63 cents.
What was the difference for?
It was for our Spectrum bill.
What was it, 56,900 what?
Sorry, 56,988 with 63 cents would be the new amount.
I have questions about these electronic transfers, and to me, you add up 63,000 plus and 56,988 plus.
Mhm.
Do you throw in the 13,509 with that to come up with the total in expenditures?
Not yet, no.
That has not been, it wasn't approved by council and it was just presented to you today.
Okay. Because the reason I'm asking is that the number that that I was crunching on, they don't add up. They don't add up with what we started with at the beginning of the month and where we're at right now. We're looking at right around $20,000 difference. And I don't know where those $20,000 are as far as here on the agenda or any of the expenditures.
So right now, I understand that, but we need to stick to what is on the agenda for today. That is something that we can discuss, if you want to come in and discuss that with us. Or we can discuss it at the next meeting, but we need to,
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is in reference to these numbers on this agenda. That's why I'm questioning it.
I understand that, but the 13,000, no, you would not add that to that. That hasn't, yes, it's been approved, but it still hasn't, we haven't been invoiced for it.
Okay? But the 63,000 plus and the 56,900 plus don't add up to,
What is
What
that
was it?
you're holding?
it's a bank statement. It doesn't add up to what's on here. No. You take this number right here and you take that number away from that number, and you end up with a balance, which doesn't match up to what's on here.
I know, but
That's
that's
what I'm
also,
questioning. These are expenditures. No, I know that. These are expenditures. This is money that's gonna go out the
Yes.
door.
okay, so right now, what we need to focus on is approving this, and I understand what you're saying is that it doesn't match. Regardless, this needs to get approved. This needs to get paid. This is payroll. So,
Ruben, I think, for your question, I think you should do it on number 10. Reports of mayor and council members.
well, not necessarily either, because reports isn't to ask those types of questions.
Why?
Drew, Drew, are you there?
I'm here, Mayor.
So Councilmember Olivares is asking about that the numbers don't match up from what sits on the bank, in the bank statement to what we're trying to approve. And I'm explaining to him that we need to stay on task and, approve the consent agenda and so on. And so then Councilmember Alvarado says to just do that during staff report or council member report. But I feel like that's something that should be discussed not as a report. Like, does that make sense? I feel like reports is for something.
I think, other cities, the way they usually have something on their agenda, they might have something called like miscellaneous council discussion as a means to allow a conversation about what maybe Councilmember Olivares is saying to do that. You don't have that here. Whether or not, somebody wants to stick in a report, and whether or not that's appropriate is really up to each and every council members. I do, to your point, the motion on the table is the consent agenda to approve the vouchers that are before you, both the payroll vouchers and the vendors vouchers. And so in terms of the discussion itself, we do need to keep it germane to those conversations. If there's questions about individual vouchers, you know, that's obviously, you know, worthy of the conversation if there needs to be additional, you know, discussion about it. But in terms of, and forgive me, Councilmember Olivares, I just don't know what bank statement you have in front of you. So unfortunately, I'm not able to kind of track what that part of the discussion is. But I would say that at this point, I'm not sure how germane that is to the motion before you about which is on the consent agenda and the items on it. So if it makes sense in a future agenda for this part of the discussion, you know, about, you know, things they want to see differently to include an item like miscellaneous council discussion, that's great. I would also make it just a point that, you know, having now supported you guys for over a year, that you usually use your reports to make those kinds of comments. So I don't necessarily see a need to add it unless you really just want to make council reports be, let's talk about the things we've done in the last 2 weeks.
The reason I'm bringing it up, Drew, is because it pertains to the expenditures itself. And for us to approve this, what's wrong with getting an explanation as to why numbers don't add up?
Well, again,
I understand that this needs to get paid off. But I would also like to know why the numbers don't add up. I mean, it's not that hard of a question. It's not that hard of a thing to figure out.
right.
You know, so
So,
I don't see what the problem is with asking a question like that.
Because
So
we
I
all
think
don't have the same
Let the lawyer
information
answer.
hold on. Because we all don't have the same information that you have in your hand.
I made a copy for all of it, not just what you get. So we can be on the same page and see what the heck.
I'll let you guys look at it right now.
No, why don't you make copies when you get information like that, so we could all have it? Instead of just you, is what I'm getting at. I don't know where you're getting your information from, who knows? But I think if you get.
Well, take my word for it. This is coming straight from the bank.
Well,
So you went into the bank to get a copy?
Yeah,
so council member, it's a little difficult for anybody, myself or the staff, to in real time respond to a question when we don't have all the information to you. My recommendation to you is to provide the documents that you have in your hand to staff. You've directed the question. I'm pretty certain Sophie has heard your question, which is, hey, can you tell me why these don't match? I would recommend then for Sophie to track it down and provide an answer, probably in writing. I would recommend to Sophie, if she's listening, since it sounds like this might be of interest to other council members, to provide that to send all that information out to all the council members, so that they all have the information at the same time. But that would be my recommendation to move forward, and to more importantly, to answer your question, Councilmember Olivares, because I think at this moment, based on what I'm hearing, this is not information that was not necessarily included in the council packet. This information that you have independent of information provided to you have sought, and so it's difficult for anyone to respond to it if they don't have that information readily in front of them.
okay, let's move on.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda with the amendment of B in the amount of $256,988.63.
I have a motion by Councilmember Sotelo,
I'll second it.
second by Councilmember Alvarado. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes,
The ones who were signed, the ones who went to look at the claims, they're down out.
Everything did except the spectrum, that's why
And that's why you added it.
Right. It was zero balance on the claim. So we noticed that, so she got the right amount.
I have a couple of questions, but I don't know if I can bring them up.
What was about the claim?
But it's about the expenditures. What is this reimbursement for $403? Sophie Martin.
That is my mileage to Pasco, my mileage to Leavenworth, the reimbursement for meals for the trip to Leavenworth. Actually, it was in advance on that, which I took the general amount, and the reimbursement for items purchased for National Night Out. You did not show up for the meeting on Monday, but that was all explained, and I showed every single receipt to Vera, to Councilmember Zavala.
But I thought we agreed that you weren't gonna get mileage to Leavenworth because you were going in a different direction after the meetings were over.
Oh, I stayed for the entire meeting and I came back here. My plans changed. And that was never an agreement.
Okay, so this is a reimbursement for your mileage to Leavenworth?
Not just
Yeah.
there, no,
Okay, then how come I haven't gotten mine?
because you haven't submitted the paperwork, which I brought here for Monday, that you didn't show up for, the
Okay,
Monday
so if I
meeting.
submit it tomorrow, do I get it right away like you got yours right away?
You can, yes, if you
Okay.
absolutely need it.
Okay,
I also need the rest of your receipts so I could submit your reimbursement for meals,
Mhm.
as I addressed to you in Leavenworth.
well, I don't have receipts for meals because meals they were given to us.
Dinner was not.
Dinner wasn't, but I thought it was only gonna be lunch and breakfast that was gonna be given
So you
to us.
paid for your dinner, turn that receipt in, so you can get reimbursed for that.
Which I explained to you, any meal that was not provided at the training was paid for through the per diem rate
Mhm.
or through your receipts.
I have a question on the reimbursement. You guys just said, don't they have to wait now to the next meeting to approve them? Yeah, you just guys can't get a check right away?
Well, that's the second time that I've seen that, and this is, the council, I mean, the mayor Gonzalez did the same thing, she was just Spokane.
I didn't, don't word it like that, Mary, that's what I did, it was,
Well, in general, in the past, we've never, like, we would have to wait. till
Wait till the next meeting.
The next day, so to speak,
Not necessarily for trainings. Trainings, you actually have to have you can get your reimbursement prior because that's what's gonna provide your mileage for your gas, for your food.
That's not called a
It's-
reimbursement, that's called a
advancement.
That's an advancement, yeah.
Oh, it's a.
stipend, yeah.
Yeah, but you can do that. You can do that.
That gets-
Mhm.
But the reimbursements, you get paid something, you gotta pay something back, you gotta wait for the next meeting. To check for us to approve.
I think because it was just already processing, we should put it all together so that we don't have to do another check. I mean, it was just for the expenses from the
National-
National Night Out.
Turn stuff in and you just cut them a check, but that's not on.
What was that?
That we said that we'd cut him a check.
You guys just told Ruben to turn in his receipts right away, and then you guys will cut him a check right away, but that's not on here, that hasn't been approved.
His is the majority of his is going to be reimbursed anyway. And we have to submit that information to AWC. Cause his was through
Scholarship.
scholarship. So his hotel stay, which he did turn in the receipt for that, and the mileage was covered under scholarship. So I have to provide something to AWC so that they can reimburse us for it.
I'm not talking about that, I know you guys, but I'm talking about reimbursing, writing a check, cutting the check back to him right away without us approving it here.
what claims would it come out in the next one?
Mhm.
I just thought you can't.
Well, we've always, that's the way it's.
That's always been, right? We have to wait till it's approved now. He has to wait now for the next 2 weeks because he didn't turn it in on that.
It is what it is. I have another question on this, Sophia, who's Peter Randall, or Randall Peters?
Randy, the wastewater operator?
Oh, okay. Okay. I noticed on here that, regular hours for a couple of city workers, one was 92.25 and the other one was 94.75. So these guys are getting overtime?
Those are regular hours. There's a separate column for overtime. So that is not overtime hours.
Was it a 96 pay period or?
So they don't
It was
get,
a 96-hour pay period, this one.
Let's say,
Like a
Usually.
week and a half or something.
yeah.
Aside from the fact that standby time shows up under regular hours. So if they've got standby hours, those also show up there. I have reached out multiple times to Visions. There is no way to fix that report.
so this is just regular hours, 92 hours instead of a regular 80-hour 2-week pay period?
Because of the way that our pay periods are set up, it was a 96-hour pay
Okay.
period this time.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't aware of that. That's why I was just asking. Okay, no, that's good. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Next is visitors. Next is visitors' comments. Sorry. Do we have any online?
We don't, no.
Okay. So then we will move on to public hearing. The time is 7:20, sorry, I can't see. 7:25 PM. I hereby open the public hearing regarding the 6-year transportation program. The purpose of this hearing is to receive public testimony and comments concerning the 6-year transportation improvement program for the years 2027 through 2032. Before we begin, I will ask Jamin to provide a brief overview.
Evening, council. This is a state requirement that you update your TIP, Transportation Infrastructure Plan, once a year. Typically, the deadline for that is in June, but it's better late than never. And so it's something that the city is supposed to do every year and update it. I think at mayor staff's request, we provided some assistance and updated the projects. It's something where typically you roll projects over from year to year. If you don't complete them, you roll them forward, you can change them out. You're not bound to this. This is just your way of saying, here's kind of what we're thinking about for transportation projects. You can change it, you can do other things, but this kind of guides, then once you apply for funding, this kind of guides that. And so that's what this is for tonight. This is one of the requirements is a public hearing. So I think we actually finished this draft a while ago, but then because of the meeting schedule and the public notice requirements, you had to kind of pushed it out where it actually we brought to council because we needed to have a few weeks for public notice and then get it on the agenda. So these projects are just sort of your current, the next things you might do a transportation projects in town. They're not binding, but it's something that you have to do yearly, at a minimum yearly. At least one of these was, we just submitted some TIB. So this is TIP, Transportation Infrastructure Plan, or Transportation Improvement Plan. There's also TIB, which is a Transportation Infrastructure Board, which is where you apply for funding. And so working with the mayor and staff, we submitted a couple of funding applications on behalf of the city, or the city submitted it. We prepared them on behalf of the city for funding. I believe one of them, I was on vacation the week they did it, but I believe it was some Washington Street funding. I think it was in front of the school, where there's some alligator cracking stuff in the roads. And you kind of got the rest of Washington done a couple years ago, but this is kind of the last block to advance. And then also we did an app to look at trying to put sidewalk on Jefferson, which is something that I talked to the mayor about to try to kind of extend your sidewalk network, how the kids get to school, right?
Mhm.
Put one along on Jefferson that collects kids coming from the north, south, and then over to the elementary school. And so those funding apps are in, and we'll find out later this year. And then those are also reflected in this TIP as kind of priorities for the city. So that's a summary of it.
Are there any projects that are rolling over right now or that are gonna be rolled over?
So there are probably a few of those, yes, that are rolled over from last year. I think Jefferson Street sidewalk is a new one based on conversation with the mayor.
Mhm.
Previously, you may have had Adams sidewalk and we moved it to Jefferson sidewalk. A lot of these are, like Monroe. In fact, we were just talking about Monroe this
Mhm.
morning, or this afternoon. That's on there as well to try to do something with Monroe. So this is a game plan. You're not bound to it. And if something else arises, you can change it, but you're required to at least have a game.
So as far as Monroe goes, That's gonna be like half of your project, half the counties, or are you guys gonna go in it together?
Well, that's what the mayor.
We
and I
don't know yet.
discussed.
Yeah, we're still, like,
Yeah.
this is just letting you know that we're applying for these and
Yeah.
it's not, yeah,
City doesn't have the money for these.
Yeah.
This isn't, we're doing these.
Yeah.
This is here's what we'd like to do. plan.
yeah.
And then the next step, we have a few funding applications in. This the next step is to try to find the funding as the city desires. And,
Mhm.
typically the TIP has, 5 to 10 to 15 projects on it. You're not gonna do those all in a year. Usually you're trying to knock off your top priorities. So for a long time, Main Street was, one of the top projects here. That's done. You move it off the
Mhm.
list. And then you move on to the next top priorities.
And this can be updated or changed anytime, it doesn't have to wait
That's my
till it's
understanding.
due.
Yeah.
Cause I know Third Street is like almost gone, Third Avenue, I'm sorry.
Third Street.
Third
On yours,
Ave-
here,
Third Ave is like almost gone, and that's not even on the list here, it's like, it's all tore up. Like, it's almost gone. And it's not even on the list.
Yeah, that's something that you can add in the future. You could choose to add it now, you have your public hearing on it today. You don't have to approve it today. We can go back and add that to this, or in the future, you could amend it. Certainly amend your TIP. This would be where the public, if the public was looking,
yeah.
time for the public to comment on the city's transportation priorities.
Thank you, Jamin. We will now receive public testimony. Anyone wishing to speak should state their name and address. For the record, each speaker will be allowed up to 3 minutes. Please direct your comments to the council. The council may ask questions for clarification, but this is not intended to be a question and answer session. Is there anyone that would like to speak regarding this matter? Nobody online? Seeing no further public testimony, the public comment portion of this hearing is closed. The time is 7:30 p.m. The public hearing is now closed. Council discussion?
Did we pencil that Third Avenue in here, or does it have to be amended later?
Well, we would need to add the costs.
Oh,
So you
that's-
might be able to approve it. Tell us to add it with whatever cost we come up. I don't know, you could probably do that. If you're not down to it, right? It's not a commit, it's not a commitment to spend funds, it's just a ranking of priorities. So. I'll kind of, do you guys what you're comfortable with, but if you want us to add it, approve it,
Have you
adding
guys
that
seen that
project.
road?
Oh, we can do that. You can use the sidewalk.
I know, yeah, and then the road's almost gone. I think we should add it. Yeah?
Which street are you talking about?
Third Ave. Third.
Jim, and these dollar amounts, they can change at any given time, right?
It's just.
This is just a rough estimate. And these dollar amounts, that's including material, labor, everything. Okay. Huh?
I think that would be valid. They're on funding. If you're going to the bad, it all that, or you drop them, that is number 8. No. it's not
Added?
bad.
Okay.
The plan level and.
Especially right now because of the cost of everything going up, and it's not gonna go down anytime soon.
You're not down there.
It's on here.
Oh, I know which one. Yeah, Adams is.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And Monroe, if it was to be done, it's gonna go from the map to Sunnyside Highway all the way to Vance Road.
That would be a determination of time and point for funding, how you coordinate with.
But you're already at the end of the road. You gotta turn around.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah. If you do, yeah, turn around and then goes,
Take smaller bites.
that's at the beginning. There you go.
Yeah, I know. I'm
There you
sorry.
go.
Phases to get funding better, that's the.
That's third.
okay,
And
There it is.
the funder and how it's going to start.
yeah.
It look bad like that, how old is this thing?
The update is pretty
This is
frequently.
June 2025.
It was
The
last year.
reason third is so crowded, man, is because there's too many vehicles on the road. And then they're parked like that.
That is.
When you drive down that road, you barely have enough room to get 2 cars by.
You got a video of Adams Street?
Do you want to see Adams money?
I think it's on here already, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's on the list already.
It's probably not.
move on.
And Adams is the Fox Seal took care of some of the potholes.
Haven't done it yet, but hopefully.
I mean, I have, yeah, you could.
Close to it, right.
Yeah.
SR 22 is county responsibility. There's a big old.
Out here, that's. Oh, yeah, yeah, no, 241. Well, that's washed off, that's the same. So the 241 and.
Oh,
22 are-
yeah. It's just telling Marty about it the other day. I was like, I hate this stuff. But yeah. Okay.
And then I like to add third.
Okay.
So you want the two options, either we had it in the back and. We could approve it tonight, contingent on adding that.
Yeah.
And we not go down with it. You work with priorities on more of that, things added to the bottom, there really is not the line of reason to it.
You can have the hotel if you want, man, but stuff comes out of it, sometimes the availability of funds.
Yeah.
It's in grant.
Plans on certain streets for certain things.
Yeah, so Third Street, Washington to Monroe, or is it specific?
I always do that, but no.
Yeah, so yeah. Third Ave from Washington to. Third Avenue.
I use that as priorities.
Okay, so the matter is now before city council for discussion. If action is scheduled. Is there a motion regarding this matter?
We'll move in.
Oh, we're gonna move on. Oh,
That's,
oh, that will be new business.
It'll be
B. Mhm.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to new business. Can I get a motion new business item A, can I get a motion for approval of resolution of the Council of Mapton, Washington, appointing Commissioner Lisa Eichler to the Mapton Municipal Court and establishing an effective date, which she already actually has of August 4th.
What's that about? It's something that she's already what?
I mean, she's already, technically, her first day was August.
In that position.
And Mayor, even though she has started, the council does
Yeah,
need
so
to take
we're-
this action.
Yes. Yes.
Make a motion to approve resolution. A resolution of the Council of Mapton, Washington, appointing Commissioner Lisa Eichler to the Mapton Municipal Court and establishing an effective date.
I have a motion by Council Member Sotelo. Second by Council Member De La Fuente. Any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item B, approval of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Mapton, Washington, adopting the 6-year transportation improvement program for the years 2027 through 2032.
Make a motion to approve resolution of the City Council of the City of Mapton, Washington.
You can just say I.
Adopting the 6-year transportation improvement program for the years 2027 to 2032 in contingent of adding Third Avenue from Washington to Monroe.
I have a motion by Council Member Sotelo. Second by Council Member De La Fuente. Any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item C, approval of the request to place a memorial bench at the Mapton Cemetery.
Who's requesting?
The resident, American resident.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for place of a memorial bench at the Mapton Cemetery.
I have a motion by Council Member Olivares. Second by Council Member Zavala. Any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item D, approval of the final progress estimate number 1 for the 2026 fog seal project and authorized payment to the contractor.
Since this project's already done, I make a motion to approve the final progress estimate number 1 of the 2026 for seal project and authorized payment to the contractor.
I have a motion by Councilmember Olivares. Second by Councilmember De La Fuente. Any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item E, approval of amendment number 1 to agreement number 38264 between Yakima County and the city of Mapton in conjunction with the American Rescue Plan, Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds Award.
Essentially, if they do this is. And so this is something we thought, when we get to the fact that the city gets to keep them, and use them as partial funding for future improvements and all of this. Go after the city and they turn away to do it. There's the city help with this and gave you a lot of time to find other funds. So mention the C funds as something.
And this is for 500 grand, right?
And essentially, we're gonna tell, we need a for deadline to a bit one time.
Yeah.
That gives you time to find other funds, that gives you time to decide which approach is, find other fund, work with other funds and rails. And like you said, they have other funds that they're legal to help facilitation. Then there are a number of other fund programs, that the city might be eligible for, some past audits, that, the troubles with audits in the past, with that. Staff will be, resolve that, which now.
James, since this is intertwined with ARPA funds, it's only allocated for water projects or anything having to do with water issues?
This, typically, it was tagged to well 70, the addition of new wells was this. When we present, all the alternatives, we're getting closer to having that report of communication ready, we're meeting our hydrogeology essentially to talk about what we're doing. When we present that, I think we do a whole bunch of options, right? And so if their funding for it is for shallow wells. If you get to the point and that's not the option, you would say, wow, that's not our best alternative for water. Chance that happens, right, when we finish the analysis, then we're gonna go back to the commission and say, hey, the main goal of this was more source capacity, but cities decided this is, there was other options, the best way to get more source capacity. Another amendment to change it, while the conversation, it would change it, or whatever that other option. Otherwise, if you proceed with more shallow water wells, this is still your best option, then essentially as written, they've already for that one. Which is new wells, drilling and putting new wells for the city, it's shallow well.
But we have at least a 3-year leeway,
Yes.
or give or take, 2.5, 3, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, and I think, yeah, this was fantastic.
And this $500,000 is separate from what there might be available right now, right? Out of the 150?
Yes, this is a whole different package of money, and this is like I talked about before, is essentially, you had a funding package of CDBG and USDA RD money, and it was for well 7. We got into the design of well 7 and looked at the offer, like, you're not gonna get 400 gallons a minute, you're like 400 gallons a minute. So we tried to say, okay, can we squeeze 2 wells into this? And it was gonna be really tight, to try to do 2 for the price of 1, and that was where the county was right at the time they were offering this money. So, hey, county, can we have some more money to try to make this work, and that's when they offered the city this money. And most ARPA money, the deadline is this year. You have to spend ARPA money. And so the county received a bunch of ARPA money and then they gave it out to other municipalities. And so they're coming down to the deadline to spend it. So they're saying to everybody who has money unspent, like, hey, you're gonna spend your money, you're spending money. So when they asked the city, we said, we responded with the staff, like, no, we're not, right? We're not at a place to spend this money by the deadline. Even if we rush the bid package out, there's no way to spend the money because of the way the process went, and explains that. We had multiple meetings with them and explained it, and they essentially had a way where, you know, their ARPA money has to be spent by the end of this year. But they have interest, as they've been holding all this money from the federal government, they've made $2 million of interest on it. And that money is sort of the counties to do with it what they please. And so what they're doing is saying, they're gonna essentially take your money, your 500,000 that had to be spent back. They're gonna spend it on something else. The county has other things they can spend it on to make sure it gets spent by the deadline. They're gonna give you some of this interest money that doesn't have the deadlines. It's kind of
It
like.
doesn't have any attachments to
Yeah,
like,
and so they
it's,
can-
it's just county and
Yeah.
and city.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
Yep, and so. It's very, you know, appreciated that they worked with the city on
Yeah.
that to move that along.
and also I think Jabin, because I wasn't at the board, if they just asked for Jabin to be at that meeting. And one thing that they said is like, basically, we were the first in line, like, we were the only ones that were like, hey, can you guys amend this? Because this obviously didn't work out. This project didn't work out to what we thought it was gonna be. So it wasn't that we weren't trying to spend the money, is that there was restrictions as to what we could spend this 500,000. Yeah, yeah. And so that's why, you know, Jamin's like, well, let's just try it. And so it's like, okay, and so
Yeah.
that's
because
where we started.
You're proactive to have the conversation with them.
Yeah.
They were able to work with you to,
Mhm.
yeah. Just
And then the 150, Ruben, that you said, which one are you talking about, the 150?
The one that was left over
State
from
appropriation.
last year, the year
Yeah.
before, yeah,
State appropriation.
yeah.
And so for that, they said that has to be spent on, we met with them as well, because
Yes.
the letter said.
Which we spoke about
Water.
too. Yeah.
Yep, it says water improvements, not great, let's
So
start
that's
spending
the-
this all stuff. When we talked to this commerce, the person who administers that money, they said, you know, in the fine print, in the official award, beyond that, it has to be spent on water main replacement, because that was the request that the city made at the time.
Yeah.
was to replace water mains, so that's all we could spend that 150 on now.
Mhm.
You can request amendment, and then that's, they have a yearly cycle of doing that to the legislature,
November.
in November. And so if you wanna request that, that's something you could do, is say, hey, we'd really rather spend on.
Which I think is kind of when we talked about this at the last council meeting or the one before, it was like, yeah, we're just gonna wait till November
Yeah.
and let's,
Yeah, but I think, you know, if you wanna use it on something else, we need to put that request into them.
Yeah.
that, hey, we really need this more for source and treatment than we do for water use. or
Yeah.
whatever. And that. can be
Exactly,
included
but-
Over in package.
mhm.
I think source of treatment would be the best way to go, I think. Because in that way you can upgrade your chlorine pumps, you know, any pump that might be an upgrade or some type of maintenance.
Mhm.
I think that it would be more beneficial in something like that than,
For the city's most kind of wrong that needs water lines right now, is more capacity and.
Mhm.
you know,
Okay, let's accept that money.
All in- Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, go.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment number 1 to agreement number 38264 between the Yakima County and the city of Mapleton in conjunction with the American Rescue Plan Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund Award.
I have a motion by Councilmember Sotelo,
Second.
second by Councilmember Zavala. Any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to new business F, approval of grant agreement 27-96647-055 between the Washington State Department of Commerce and the City of Mapleton for the remodel and modernization of the Mapleton Police Department facility.
Again, this is to accept. Oh, the grant money so they can do the PD, remodel the PD. Okay.
And basically, we're promising that we're gonna follow the guidelines.
Yeah.
and-
Guidelines.
Yeah.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve grant agreement number 27-96647-055 between the Washington State Department of Commerce and the City of Mapleton for the remodel and remodernization of the Mapleton Police Department facility.
I have a motion by Councilmember Sotelo,
I second it.
second by Councilmember Alvarado. Any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Thank you. Yeah, item F. No, G, I'm sorry, item G. See, you did it to me.
No, it was F,
F,
yeah.
and did I say G?
No,
It's
F.
Oh, I think because you're
because you had
looking,
it added on the regular agenda.
yeah, okay.
It was E and
Yeah.
F. I know.
That's the study, sorry. Okay, so yes,
No.
item F. Okay, sorry, any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to old business. Approval of a resolution approving, authorizing the mayor to execute an interlocal cooperative agreement for services with Mapton School District number 120 for the School Resource Officer Program and establishing an effective date.
I'll make a motion to approve, the resolution approving and authorizing the mayor to execute an interlocal cooperative agreement for services with the Mapton School District number 120 for a school resource officer program, establishing an effective date.
I have a motion by Councilmember Olivares, second by Councilmember De La Fuente. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Oh, sorry. Motion carried. Next, item 9 is, or sorry, number 9 is staff report. Mari, do you have anything to report? Sophie?
Yes, we'll be sending out an email to you guys shortly once we establish our budget meeting dates so that we can coordinate and determine when we're gonna have our first meeting. It does have to be a public hearing notice. We do have to give a public hearing notice. We're gonna have to advertise for it, so we have to give plenty of time for the Sunnyside Sun to report that information. So once we are able to pinpoint a date that works better, we're thinking of a Saturday, but I know that Community Days is coming up and then Labor Day weekend. So we also have to have so many more public hearing notices sent out. So we're going to try and coordinate all the dates so we have them all lined up and the notices to the Sunnyside Sun in plenty of time to have them posted the required amount of time. And then Councilmember Olivares, I think I'm sure I am aware of, or I know why your numbers are not adding up. And if you'd like to come in tomorrow, I will sit down with you.
I'll take this information with me tomorrow, Sophie, and we'll sit down and we'll go over this.
Okay.
I don't know what time you're gonna be available.
Sorry.
Anytime during the day?
I have a 9 o'clock meeting that should only last about half an hour. And
That's too early.
So 10?
tomorrow afternoon, do you
Oh,
want,
yeah, after.
do you want to do tomorrow afternoon?
11 o'clock?
11
10
o'clock works for
It
me.
doesn't matter.
Okay, 11
Either
o'clock
or.
works.
Okay.
Okay, next reports, from Mayor, I asked Jamin to, report on, emergency funding, give a little bit of a background and explanation on that, and also, talk about the stratification testing.
So, first one's emergency funding.
Yes.
So Public Works Board is one of the funders of capital improvements. And they have regular different funding cycles available, construction funding, pre-construction funding, which lets you start the process towards construction, and emergency funding. So, a couple of things we're looking at. They will have a pre-construction funding cycle coming up later this year, most likely. Those are a little more often. And so it's something that as we present all these alternatives for water and treatment and some stuff in the coming months, once you pick a path, the next step is to look for funding, right? Once you choose what you, but you can't start looking for money until you decide what you want to do, right? It's very uncompetitive to say, give us money, but we don't know what we're gonna do with it. And so I just get a heads up, as that comes up, that will likely be something we're talking to the mayor about bringing to you as a, rather than waiting longer to apply for the full meal deal, sometimes if you can apply for pre-construction money, that lets you start the process and it sets you up to be more competitive with construction. So that's just a heads up, that would be coming. The more current thing is that they also have emergency funding available. And so some of the issues we've been dealing with your water system, it's a high enough emergency, you just have to deal with the problem immediately, right? This welfare stuff, you can't wait to finish funding for it, you have to fix it. So their emergency funding is a little step down from that. And so something the plan that the mayor and I had today when we talked about it was to meet with your water operators and talk about some of these other items that they would consider an emergency that they would be done soon. Smaller ticket fixes, those smaller fixes that they see that aren't already done. And then consider whether there's a possibility of doing a Public Works Board emergency funding request. based on what we have. We go to them and we say, hey, this is what we're thinking about as a funding, and they can give us a tentative, like, yeah, that sounds competitive. And then the key there is highest priority stuff, you just have to drop everything and do. It's the next highest list. But if your operations staff still feels like there's some items that rise to the level of emergency or close to emergency, talk about that with the costs and then the opportunity for funding. Funding would be most likely loan. You might qualify for some hardship grant. But it will give you some cash flow, maybe some grant to help fund it, some quick fixes on some things that your operations staff will have to see done.
And second
Yeah.
was, sorry,
Second.
stratification.
Yes, so if you remember last summer, there was a talk of adding mixers to the reservoirs. And the thing you put mixers in reservoirs when you think there's gonna be some sort of stratification or dead zones. What you want is the water goes into your reservoir, it gets well mixed, and then it leaves. You don't want areas, pockets of water sitting where they just get stagnant, the chlorine residual that volatilizes and it starts to grow things. With the way your reservoirs are set up, you're not at a high risk for that. So the water goes in the top of the tank and it flows out the bottom of the tank. So you're not as likely to have dead zones. The time that could occur is during the summer, where you have hot water sitting at the top of the tank, cold water comes in and immediately drops, and you could maybe have hot water. So last summer, before we started the reservoir mixer design, but then in discussion, there was the recommendation that first you check for stratification. Let's see if this is even an issue before you spend money on mixers. So last September, we dropped our drone, we lowered our drone through the reservoir, checked temperature. We didn't find any evidence of stratification. We also sampled chlorine. We had a little hand pump, checked water, took water samples at different heights throughout the reservoir and checked for chlorine residual. And it was constant down to a point, and then there was a significant jump. But that was an operations thing. They changed the setting. So there wasn't evidence of stratification. So the plan at the time that presented to you guys and you guys made the decision on was, okay, let's just keep this as a timeout. Come back next summer, check again. And so we've had that on the schedule all summer. Problem is, because of your water issues, you only have one tank online and it's not all the way full. And so it's not the time that if we're going to capture, the worst case scenario for stratification is not now, because your tank is 2/3 full. So the water's moving through it more quickly. So we're originally planning to do it in early August. Well, you want it to sit with high temperatures for a couple of weeks before you do this. But because of the issues, you haven't had a couple of weeks. And honestly, the 6 to 8 week lead time for well forward may not have the reservoir all the way full for a while. And so we've been progressively just pushing this off. But now we're getting to the point where we're out of the high temperature time of year. And so you have the options. We can drop the drone in. We can't do the water sampling until the tank's full. The lower tank level, we could potentially still do the drone and see, but not the worst case scenario for stratification. So or we could get into the postpone it. I think that my understanding is the city's plan was to use city ARPA funding for that. There's some deadlines for spending that, and that's all. Well, staff coordinating that, and so wanted to present this. And you want to postpone it or cancel it? We can do that. You want to drop the drone in? We can do at least a partial test of that. But it may not really provide you the value. So the ones spend money not really capture the value. So
I would think if it's something that needs to be done, I think it needs to be done. I mean, what else can we do?
you could wait and do it next summer.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, because if we do it now, the concern is if we do it now, it will probably say you don't have stratification. Which is what we'd expect, because it's not likely.
But it will be accurate.
It would be accurate,
But
but it would be. But it doesn't mean there's still not a small chance that if the tank were full and it was the heat of summer and had sat there for a couple of weeks, you couldn't still, there's this little chance. So we could prove there's no stratification this summer. With temperature stratification at least, but it wouldn't be a complete guarantee that we couldn't occur under other circumstances. But realistically, it's unlikely that you will have stratification because of the way your tanks are configured. This is more likely to occur in the flat, big tanks that are flat and up on the hill. That's more likely to have stratification than your tank configurations.
Do both tanks drop from top?
Yes.
well, the good thing about it is that we haven't had that much heat. We haven't really been over triple digits, maybe it hit triple digits 2 or 3 times, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a plus.
Yeah, no, and all of this is good for not having stratification.
Yeah.
It's bad if we were trying to patch stratification, right? A lot like we not likely that we will find it, but realistically, it's not likely we'll find it under any scenarios, but. You know, so your options could be to move ahead with the drone testing. We can't do the chlorine level testing because of the height of the reservoir, the height of the water in the reservoir. But we can move forward with the drone testing. Second option would be to postpone it. You know, come back next summer, tanks are full, wait for a hot, couple weeks of hot weather and then test it, or to, cancel entirely. We'll do whatever you guys want to do.
Jamie, is well 4 and well 6 going into the same reservoir?
Yes. They all come together on a common water main,
Mm.
and go in and through into the top.
So what, we're like, what, 80% full?
I think a
75,
couple weeks
70?
ago, I don't have access to the data, but when I asked Lorenzo a week ago, I think in the last week, he said you were at 95 feet. Full is 140 feet. You don't always run that full, but you can get it up to 140, so 4 feet, I think is when the alarms will start going off. 140, 144, 144 and a half. So you're roughly 2/3 full. You're probably around 40 to 45 PSI in town. Normally you'd be around 6.2 if you were running the reservoir full. Sometimes staff in the past has run the reservoir a little lower than full, try to help water move more quickly, dealt with some individuals. You go all the way. You do it on 62 PSI.
Would. Do you think it's a priority to drain the other reservoir out and get that thing back up and ready so that it can get refilled?
Yes, I think as the city has time to do that,
Uh-huh.
certainly. Right now, if you drained that reservoir and tried to refill it, imagine an empty tank and a full tank, you would go like this, right?
Yeah.
And so there is some strategy to keep pressure up. You don't want to do it right now. Once you have, when you get to the fall and the
Yeah.
lower temperatures, we go pour back online, absolutely.
Yeah,
You would drain the tank out, find something good to do with that water. Do what you have to do to satisfy the elation, just the well back, or put the well back online. Store that machine. That's where, I know your contract water operator is aware of that issue, and I think it's probably, same thing here. He's can't empty that tank tonight. They equalize,
Yeah.
you have even more storage, and right now,
Your wells are essentially, my understanding from Lorenzo, they're running 24/7. So there's no extra capacity to catch up. It's just doing demand and keeping it where it's at. And so,
well, that's why I'm saying,
yeah,
you know, if they can empty out that reservoir early fall before it gets too cold. And you got 4 and 6 going into the same reservoir. You empty out that other reservoir, that gives you guys time to go in there and I think you were saying something about you gotta go in there and reseal it or something like that.
they may have to disinfect it. Staff
Uh-huh.
may have to disinfect or have a do that. That's gonna ultimately be what DOH ultimately. My understanding when this happened last year was that DOH just needed to sample it, and confirm it was okay. My understanding from a previous conversation with some staff was that the DOH is now seeing that. I believe your operator was talking to DOH more about that. Now that as an operation saying, okay, what was DOH gonna require to put that on? Sample it, put it online, good. But regardless, yeah, it should be put back online. Once you have enough water, the demand is dropped and the thirst is going on enough that you can fill it.
You see, I'm looking at the big picture. I'm looking to be prepared for the coming year. So that we don't end up in the mess that we're in right now as far as having the water capacity, having the PSI, you know, that we need to be able to do what the city needs to do and residents need to do. This way, we're already prepared for it. You know, we're ahead of the game. You know, so that's why I was saying early fall, no later than mid-fall, you don't drain that thing out and then
sure.
get it ready.
Yeah, well, and that's your water operations staff
Yeah.
when they're ready to do it, but I've told them when they're ready, let us know, we'll troubleshoot it or, figure out the valve of the turns.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any reports from, Trudy?
Nope.
Nope, Vera?
I just have a question, yeah. I know when we have a community day and food sold at the event, each booth or whatever, they have their own food handlers card that usually goes to Yakima Health District. Why is it being said now we have to bring our health or food handlers card to the city and prove it? To the city. What does the city have to do with it? It's through the. health
I mean,
department.
this is the first I've heard of this. that's
Oh,
why.
well, it's the
Yeah.
first time it's happened, that's why I'm asking.
Mhm.
So we need to clarify that, because I don't think. the
It
city-
might be a requirement on our special events permit, and that special events permit was, it was done with the AWC, right? Was it?
WCIA.
Or WCIA, which is our insurance company that requires those items to be on there.
Oh,
Hmm.
we never did.
Yeah, and we just
Like-
adopted that, the special events permit, I think it was last year, to be in compliance with WCIA, so.
Last,
But not just somebody that has their booth there at the, like, community day. They
If
have
they're
to
doing
bring
food,
it,
if they're doing food, more than likely, yes.
They have to bring it to you.
More than likely, yes. It probably has to be submitted with your applications. We can have Jerry look into it.
I don't
They
think
come-
the city's business to make sure every vendor has their permit. Health department comes to these events, that's night out. They come and check. They shut them down if they don't have it.
They're
So
there.
it's
every
their job,
year.
health department's
They
job to
answer
shut them
me.
down.
Like I said, it may be a requirement on that permit, so we can
Yeah,
look
well,
into it.
for our insurance.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think it was on there, cause I wasn't told that when I put ours in.
Yeah.
But those young
Okay.
ladies who were here, they were told that when they came in asked.
And the difference in price of yard sale. permit.
And they were told $5.
Who told them five?
I think it's on our codes, yes.
Oh, okay.
Somebody in. Oh, mentioning. But that's all, thank you.
Yep. Mary?
No.
I do, community days coming, on the 29th. Oh, I have a vendor permit, I have application that they want to first cleaned in there.
Okay.
I also have a question on your community yard sale.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to clarify why it is, if you guys are in their own homes and not park.
Because,
The people didn't want to have to haul their stuff.
yes.
To the park. right?
Exactly, yes. And just because, I mean, just because we're saying community, it can mean so many things. It can mean like the whole community is gonna participate by having a yard sale that day at their home, makes it a community yard sale. I mean, it's just,
I remember when, a lot of people didn't want to bring their
Yes.
stuff to the park.
exactly,
Stuff that
uh-huh,
had a loader back.
Yeah.
That's why it's being done at their home.
yeah, because some are buying permits for the 3 days, some are buying it, for 1 day. So, yeah, or
And
gonna
that
be
is
doing it
when
1 day.
again?
And that is this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, August 14th, 15th, and 16th.
And a dump, are they having the dump in?
Yes, we will have another dump day, and so next meeting, we can, pick a date. Yep. So that way we can start advertising, the beginning of September. We usually have it, what, in October? I wanna say. Yeah, well, that's also something you guys can decide.
Okay.
A month, yeah, okay. Councilmember Olivares?
I want to say that, this Leavenworth retreat
Treaty?
conference, it was pretty educational. There was a lot of, they covered a lot of different topics. It was very well explained. Took a lot of notes. According to what they were saying, the primary budget should be November 1st of this year. There should be no less, well, anywhere from 2 to 3 primary budget meetings amongst council members, staff, so that we're aware of where we're at and what needs to be done. They said that I'm gonna say some of the stuff because I don't want to, but anyway, May and November our wind taxes are refunded to cities. A 1% growth limit per year. You can look that up on the MRSC property tax for information on that. utilities, the utilities, the money from utilities cannot be used for anything else other than utilities itself. So I don't know what the city's doing with those monies, but it would be something to look into. Because if that money's being spent elsewhere, it's not the right thing to do. You know, and it's gonna come back and bite somebody. Another thing is, and I want to say it right now, you know, because this is not right. Our card got denied over there. I was there for at least 30 minutes before Sophie showed up. There was people behind me that were waiting to get registered. And they listened to the whole conversation between me and the lady at the desk, which was pretty embarrassing.
And like,
I'm not done. I'm not done. And then so it came down to where we can't check you in, sir, until this is taken care of. So if Sophie hadn't showed up when she showed up, I would have left that place. I would have left that place, but what I did, just because I used my card to cover my costs until you guys took care of it the next day, which it shouldn't be like that. That should have already been taken care of. All that should have already been done to where all I had to do is just go in there and check in and here you go.
that's not how check-ins work. Check-ins, you still have to go and they still have to run the card. You can, all
Okay,
you have to do
okay,
is.
so if you guys were aware of this,
Yeah.
then why did you guys send me up there with a credit card that wasn't gonna be accepted? If you guys knew that credit card wasn't gonna be accepted, because it wasn't accepted the week before. According to what I heard, it wasn't accepted over here
Yes, it
at the
was.
store,
What store?
the Dollar General, I guess. It got declined there, didn't it?
No.
It's been declined before. Why was it declined?
Like I said over the phone, I explained to you that because we were buying things for National Night Out, we were making these expenses that were, obviously, it was red flag because we don't buy gift cards all the time. As a bank, obviously they have to do that, right? So what happened was that we had to call and verify an expense. I did the whole, I did the call, I went through the steps. Maybe it didn't, I don't know, it didn't register on their end. But when I called Bank of America Banner Bank myself on Monday, I let them know we're making these purchases, been having these issues. They told me everything was fine. That is what the representative told me. It has nothing to do. I just don't like that you're making that perception that it got declined because we have no money. That's not what the issue was. The issue was that we were having an event, making these, purchases, unusual purchases, and they're just doing what any bank would have done. And they just, red flagged our account. And we have, Chief has his card. I have my card. My card got denied. I had to order a new one. And so, and then Sophie had that, the other card. We were fine purchasing stuff the day of. And so, but it has nothing to do with us not having money or, oh, we just, we sent you there and it's just like, like we did something, like it was just a common happen. Like it just happens sometimes. Like it wasn't anything that we had any control over. When you called me, I called Sophie right away. And also you don't get charged until the end of your trip or the end when you check out. Your card is just there as a placeholder.
That's what they needed.
I know. Okay, so that's all they needed to do. Yeah.
And the city card wasn't valid.
Exactly. I know. I
placeholder.
understand that. No,
That's
yes,
not.
I understand that. But the next morning, why don't you also explain and tell that the next morning I went straight to Banner Bank, fixed the issue, and everything was corrected. It wasn't anything, like, I just feel, you might think that it's funny, but I just don't understand where, why this is even like something that's being brought up, like,
Because it's embarrassing. Martha, it's embarrassing.
okay, Ruben, I understand that,
No,
but
you
also,
don't. No, you don't.
yes,
because
I
you're making-
do.
no, you-
Okay,
because you're making
I'm gonna call a recess. It is,
I'm not gonna
8:13.
say what I'm gonna
It is
say.
8:13. We will be back, in 5 minutes at 8:18.
I've had that done.
Ruben, I just don't